Greetings, metalheads and hardcore kids. Welcome to Metal to the Core, a podcast about metalcore, hardcore, deathcore, and whatever else, so much more, and whatever else we want to talk about and whatnot. We are your co-hosts, Kevin to the Core,
Flex it Felix.
That's all I have you on my phone anyway, so
We're rolling with it, man.
Yeah, for now, until anyone else says otherwise. We did not have any music submission this week, so if you guys have any other unsigned band music, please send it to Metal to the Core podcast at Gmail. I would prefer files, or at least specify if you give me like a Bandcamp link and whatnot. At least tell us, well, hey, like specifically what songs are okay for us to, post, have involved in the episode review and talk shit about and whatnot. But I guess for this episode, we'll just do maybe some news before we do our picks, and then we're going to end it with an album review of Andromeda. I'm not sure if to pronounce it Andromeda.
I go Andromeda. Andromeda is another.
It's a different spelling.
Yeah.
So I say Andromeda
both
too.
wrong, but let's do Andromeda.
Most likely. It's probably our inner Hispanic coming out. Andromeda. But Felix, you had some news that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so real quick, and this is actually goes back to a conversation Kevin and I had off air a couple of months ago, actually. Randomly, I was scrolling through my Spotify list and I saw the Mars Volta, and this is a band that I really liked back in the day. I don't think they were.
How did they come up on your Spotify randomly?
They were. I was just going through my shuffled songs that I had, like my library.
So just stuff that you had saved.
Yeah, and I have like thousands of songs in there. So
yeah,
God knows it's up to grabs, But I came across the Mars Volta, and I'm like, holy shit! And then my very first instinct was to text Kevin and say, dude, wasn't Mars Volta just way beyond their time?
Uh-huh.
And we just got into like talking about it really quick, but it just brought me to thinking like, damn, man, this is such a good band. So I just listened to all their stuff. I went on YouTube, looked at their old music videos, which I had done before as a kid. I fan-kid them when they were in their stages. So I really liked them. And then while I was searching and I was doing my thing, I saw on Google, and I was searching for their information. I saw that they were coming out with a reunion. So I was like, no way.
So doing what, like a reunion tour?
A reunion tour, yeah. Not a new album or anything like that, but they're doing a reunion tour. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, I think I would definitely like to go visit them and see a show. But yeah, man, I wanted to bring that out there. I'm not sure how a lot of people feel about Mars Volta. It's really a hit or miss type of band.
Yeah,
man. So I mean, I show it to a lot of people that like our music, and they say it's too much, and it is too much. I get it. There's some songs. It took me a good couple months when I first heard about them to really like them and appreciate them for what they were.
I think it has to be because of the vocal style.
Man, some people say that, and I agree. The vocal style is very different, but the band just has so much going on. There's Moroccans in the band, dude.
Right.
So it's a lot of noise. But if you just kind of try your best to filter out through some of the bullshit and some of the noise, you really see that this is just a bunch of dudes that are really talented at what they do coming together. The problem is there's only so much frequency and radio waves to feed into your earbuds. But man, some songs, that really pop, just make the band what they are. So I wanted to share that with our listeners, share that with you, Kevin.
Are they coming here?
Thoughts. I don't think they've even announced their
the dates.
Locations.
They just said, "Okay, we're doing a reunion.
We're doing a reunion tour," and that got a lot of people, especially people that were in the early scene.
Mm-hmm.
They really liked that because they came from at the drive-in,
right?
So
who did their comeback album last year?
Yeah,
that was great.
I bet, bro. And that's another really good band, man.
Yes,
that's another really good band. But I think it's about time, man. And what's funny is that a lot of the listeners from that time are our age, or maybe a little, just 2 or 3 years younger than us. So we're really, I think at this point, we've matured a little bit in the way we're listening to music, and we've expanded our horizons. We had
experimented more with our listening habits.
Exactly, with jazz especially.
Right.
So there's definitely a jazz component for the Mars Volta that they have. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I thought I wanted to share that with the squad.
That's cool. Hopefully we get a Florida date, but most likely
probably not, dude. Probably travel for that one.
But speaking of another reunion tour.
Yeah, man. Static X, dude.
How fucking weird. And then that is like we are getting them. Like they are coming.
Yeah, they are coming, and I think the band likes Florida because they've been here before.
which we
Kevin
saw.
and I have seen them live before, and that was a fucking show. And that was with Wayne Static, bro. Oh my god, that was fantastic, man. I think that was 2008 or
that
so.
was right after. What's the one before Cult of Static? The one that had Cannibal.
Destroyer. No, that was a single. I think that might have been. Let me look it up. But I remember the hit song in their in that
Oh, did
album.
we see them for that album?
I think we saw them. Maybe. Let me look it up. But it was an amazing show, Static X. And
so then now somehow they're doing a reunion tour after the death of Wayne Static. Well, some years ago now, and then people are like, "Cool, how?" And I love like the promo image or images is like it looks like literally looks like an undead Wayne Static.
Yeah, it looks like Slipknot type of mask on Wayne, which is not it's not the Wayne that we know and love. But I think it's and we've talked about this, Kevin, a couple times. I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Cult of Static was 2009.
Yeah, dude. So we were looking at Cannibal. That was the album they were promoting at that time, and I'm pretty sure we went around 2008.
So it was them like promoting Cult of X.
Exactly.
Because I remember I have a poster, and I think they signed it. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. And I have a poster, and it's the poster of the cover of Cult of Static.
Yeah. So they're launching this reunion tour, and I saw the band's page, and it's really to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Wisconsin Death Trip. That came out in 1999. So
wow,
I want to go, man.
20 years.
20 years, dude. And when Kevin and I saw them, it was, and feel free to jump in, dude. But when we saw them, it felt like 2 hours of nonstop, just in your face music, and the crowd was so perfect.
Yeah.
And so in sync with every single one of their songs, and no one got hurt.
Yeah, like headbanging to the headbanging parts.
Yeah,
singing to all the choruses.
Right.
But the people moshing to all the stupid heavy parts.
It was just a great like harmony of people that love good rock and good metal, and that's what I think Static X provided to the metal community, man. I think I still remember when Wayne Static died. I remember thinking like, dude, this band, I saw them since Fuse.
Right.
Like for me personally, like I've seen them.
And someone that you saw live. So it hit you more of like, wow, I'm not going to see that again.
No, and it was a great show.
Yeah.
And since we saw them, we've had opportunities to see them again. And this is a big thing for people to remember. I always thought, I'll see them next time. I'll see them next time. You never know if next time's going to come. So if you really like a band, man, and they're near your area, fucking jump to it, dude. Yeah. Because you never know, man.
With these guys and their lifestyles, you really don't know what the fuck is going to happen.
They live on the fast lane.
For real.
That's for sure.
And especially a band like Static X that was around for so long, was relevant for so long, spawned a whole little corner of nu metal with that whole like industrial experimentation that they had going on. And to the point that it launched, Wayne Static to whole new levels until his untimely death.
Yeah, he was working with Linkin Park. He was working with Slipknot.
Right.
Producing with I think he even helped some Mudvayne type of albums too. So this guy was really, I'm pretty sure he came up with most of the riffs for all their songs. So man, he was just a really, really talented dude that passed on. But anyway, specifically for this anniversary tour, I'm not sure how I feel about them replacing Wayne.
I'm mixed.
I get that they're trying to, I hate to use the word cash in, but I get that they want to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Wisconsin Death Trip. I understand that because it was a big deal to a lot of people and it was a launch of Static X. I get that. Do I want or do I need to see that?
No.
I was more than happy at understanding that, hey, Wayne Static died. It was unfortunate. Right. Let's move on.
We saw them at a great time.
Right, exactly. We followed their music through and through. It came to its conclusion. In conclusion, I think it's over. Unfortunately, it looks like the producers and the managers of Static X thought differently.
And the band themselves.
And probably, the band themselves, they wanted to keep this going. So, I guess, dude. And I also saw that, I forgot the bass player. He's actually Cuban. The bass player said that there were still hours of Wayne vocals that haven't been untouched.
Just like Tupac.
Right? Yeah. So he's like the Tupac of metal. If you think about it, I say, leave things how they are. You don't look at get horse in the mouth. But Kevin, what do you think?
No, like I said earlier, it's like I mixed on it. So it's like, I think I told you, it's like, yo, if there's nothing else going on that weekend, I'm down because I think it's a Saturday for us when they reach here in Florida, in South Florida. So it's like, if there's nothing else going on, I'm down because, like you said, like it was a great fucking show that last time we saw him. But to put it into perspective, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or more.
We were very young.
So it's like that we're not going to be able to, let's say, keep up with the same crowd. Or even worse, the crowd that we go see them with will be very different too. They'll be older, if that.
I think, though, they might be like, honestly, we might be riding the same wave they are, to be honest. I think you're looking at people in 30s and up trying to really, see the show.
Recapture the angsty music of the youth.
Yeah, man. But I don't know, dude. That's my take on it, and I wanted to put this out there in the podcast universe. Metal Monday. It's Metal Monday.
Metal Monday, guys.
So you want to start off the Metal Monday on a good news. But yeah, man, that's a little bit of what's going on in the rock world.
Well, fuck, I didn't want to sour with this, but the whole thing of I told you off air is really sad to hear of Mega Dave.
Yeah, dude.
From Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. He announced just today, the June 17th, that he has throat cancer. And when I told you, you were like, dude, like, no way.
I had no idea.
Yeah, like, no. Well, on top of you had no idea. Like, you couldn't believe it. And even I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no way.
What
of
sucks,
all things to have, throat cancer.
Dude, right, man. And what sucks about Dave fucking Mustaine is that he has been the butt of so many jokes for so many years. And the problem, and his controversy, and his drug use, and all that bullshit is just noise.
And that section of his life that he went like all religious. And shit.
Yeah, bro. It's all bullshit, man. Yeah. It's all noise. The guy is a motherfucking great guitarist. He led one of the 4 thrash metal bands in history. I get that, dude.
Or 2.
Wear your crown. Or 2. Fuck, man. You went there, not me. But it's just all in all. Hate him or love him, it sucks. It's a really shitty.
Right, he's called Mega Dave for a reason, and it's because that dude has lived a life that's larger than life, not just because it's Megadeth.
Yeah, he's a talented dude, so that was sad to hear. And apart from, you don't really see his name too often.
It's almost the opposite, where you don't see his name too often in association with, like, let's say, new stuff, even though they have come out with newer material. Like, I think the last thing was like Dystopia or some shit like that. Probably. And a lot of people canned it because they're like, it just sounds like exactly what you would expect from Megadeth. And me, I'm not a big fan of them. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big fan of the Dave Mustaine vocal styles. But I can give it to him. That dude's a hell of a fucking guitar player.
Yeah, man.
And I can't deny his relevance to the community and to the scene and what he's done, for this entire subgenre or metal genre altogether. So it's like, but I would never, as much as I don't like him and some of his like stupid antics and opinions and views on stuff, but it's like, I would never wish anything bad on him. So like, to me, it hurt, man. I was like, oh fuck. And and the way he presented himself was just like, hey, like, don't worry, we're still like gonna record new stuff, we're gonna do this and that. Unfortunately, we just have to cancel a couple of more shows for the rest of the year, but we're gonna do some like other appearance or some other thing or whatever. And it's like, man, like, what a way to dish out like such bad news to your fans, but in such like the most professional and gentlemanly way as possible.
So I'm glad you brought that up, and I want to make a pretty distinct point that maybe this is a good conversation starter. When you think of Megadeth, personally, or at least when you think of the big 4,
right?
You have your people that like Metallica, and that's fucking everyone. And I might be wrong on that, but that's fucking, for the most part, that's everyone. And then you have your people that are usually into the music that we like. That if they are going to listen to thrash, they're going to listen to Slayer. I get that, and because Slayer is very heavy, very influential, and I get it. And then you have your people that are just, I don't know what they are, that love Anthrax, myself included.
That's you.
Yeah,
because you don't know what you are.
Those are my boys from Brooklyn, bro. What can I say? But But that's them. And then you have Megadeth. And then the fans of Megadeth.
I don't know why I just think about like bring the noise.
Bring the fucking noise, man. You bring that goddamn motherfucking noise. But you have Megadeth. Now, I don't know if you've had the distinct pleasure of meeting a fan of Megadeth before, but they're a very specific person.
They're always lovable.
They're always lovable, but you almost get a sense of these are the rejects, or not rejects. These are the misfits of the rock world, so to speak. And they love that. They honor that. And to that reason, and for that reason specifically, I would argue that, and this might get some hate mail to it, but I would argue that Megadeth probably has the most hardcore fans in any of the bands of the Final Four. Because if you're gonna follow Dave Mustaine, all of his bullshit, all that stuff, it's gonna be for the love of the music,
right?
And for the most part, you know that constant, and no one thinks about Slayer and Anthrax. It's always Metallica and Megadeth, and the whole bullshit with Metallica, that's probably under the water. But when you draw that comparison, you're gonna see the people that are very just like, I this is where I fit, this is where I belong. They tend to go with Megadeth only because it's a world within its world. Metallica doesn't offer that.
Yeah.
Anthrax doesn't offer that.
Yeah,
Slayer doesn't offer that.
Because Metallica is
it's so
just
big.
like a global.
Yeah,
right.
they're
a global artist.
So if you want something like a membership, so to speak, you go with Megadeth because it's a society, bro.
Yeah.
Almost like ICP. So you get that love.
Weird ass comparison.
And you would never hear that. You heard it first, folks. Fucking Metal to the Core Mondays. That's my hot take on it.
You're saying Megadeth is the ICP of metal.
That's what I think. And you know what? I'll say it till my face turns blue, and I believe it. Because
episode title.
Oh yes. So, but if you think about it, man, these are very different people that like a very specific type of music. That just so happens to be in the same arena, right? But I think that they probably have the most loyal fans, and to that, I say that this news really sucks.
It does.
So that's my hot take on that.
But hey, he's taking it like not only a man, but a gentleman, man. Yeah, like a champ.
Taking it like a champ, and you gotta appreciate that.
So now, before we move on to the review of Andromeda Soul Seeker, another instrumental album review that we're doing today, we're going to get to our picks. So what we do here on Metal to the Core, we always do something heavy, which is our chunks of choice, something soft, which is our melody at the moment, and then our wild card, which is literally anything from outside of that realm, outside of metal realm, just anything else that we're listening to that's obviously current, upcoming, or ongoing from a band, but just does not fit in that other box of something, like heavy and metal and whatnot. So we usually go with like instrumental, post-hardcore, whatever, just to kind of ground you guys for what's to come now of our picks, specifically Felix over here. So I always want to start with you, Felix. What is your chunks of choice?
So I was really excited to see that this week we had He Is Legend as one of the songs that came out, specifically the song Boogie Woman. And now
the most recent music video.
Yeah, most recent music video. Then they have a couple of good songs. I think there's an actual single that came out recently too.
Yeah, because they have an upcoming album.
Yeah, exactly. So, man.
I want to get the name of that. Because I don't want to just throw that out there.
Get that shit right, bro.
Yeah.
So, before I dive into this song, let me just give you some backstory, man. I love
White Bat. So it's coming out next week? It says here, damn it, I just lost the damn date. But it's called White Bat by He Is Legend. Mm-hmm. These are the new singles. It is next week. No, okay. June 28th, so it's the following
week. Yeah, man. So here's my take on He Is Legend. I've liked them since their very first album.
They've changed a lot.
And I'm glad. So their first album, it's I Am Hollywood. That album came out, I want to say, in like 2004.
Yeah. A lot of people dubbed that one as like peak metalcore.
Yes. And that's one of the go-to...
Peak early metalcore.
Right, because it still hadn't evolved yet.
Because that's like Shadows Fall
era. It's around that era, man. We were only 14, dude.
Yeah.
So
that's when I got into Killswitch.
Exactly. That's what was going on. So He Is Legend was doing a very different take on this kind of scene. And you can see and you can almost hear some of the Norma Jean and the Every Time I Die coming out of this.
The like southern vibe.
That they have. Which I really dig. I really love it. But going specifically to this song, Boogie Woman, He Is Legend is constantly changing. And I was really into this band when I was living in Maryland, and I would blast their shit constantly on the Metro because it was a great, just great wake up starter. But this song specifically, and it seems like the direction they're aiming towards is very, and this is the best way I could put it, very if Rob Zombie was still making music and it was better. Now, I encourage you.
I was about to say, I'm like, that's not a good comparison.
But it got better.
Yeah, but better. Okay.
Exactly.
Because it is, if I could butt in really quick,
Yeah,
to me, it comes across as like butt rock, like party rock.
Yeah.
But with this cool southern vibe, and then those scream vocals that he does are pretty dope.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny how like down to like the song's verses, and when he, especially when the vocals kick in, it sounds like Rob Zombie karaoke. It sounds a little
almost
jarring.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say off-putting, but it sounds jarring.
Yeah. So I get that, and I picked up a little bit of that vibe to it too, but it's very easy to follow, and that's that kind of Rob Zombie style, like whatever. So I get that, but this isn't something. I kind of saw this coming for He Is Legend because their last couple albums have been more on the on the drudgy kind of sound, more kind of aiming toward this way. So I kind of saw this in the horizon, just not as well executed as how this song came out. So they've always been sexual. They've always been, like kind of controversial and like that rock type of I ain't your daddy type of thing,
like almost like trying to bring back the like glam rock vibe,
but in a very dark way and a very like Marilyn Manson-ish type of way.
Okay, so more abrasive. Right?
Yeah, like more abrasive, more like fuck you, and really listen to it. But I like it. I dig it, and yeah, man, this song in particular, I encourage all the listeners to listen to the song and look at the music video. As soon as you watch the music video, you're gonna see exactly this is Rob Zombie.
Yeah,
this is either White or Rob Zombie, and what's going on. But it's in a very metalcore type of way, and that's the thing that Rob Zombie and even White Zombie, to that matter, they have that kind of techno influences, and they have just a general rock type of basic kind of algorithms and stuff like that. But He Is Legend is taking a different twist to that kind of Halloween terror rock type of thing. And it's actually working.
Yeah, and inducing it into their brand of metal.
Yeah, man. And I dig it, dude. I really dig it. And you know what? If you follow this band for a couple of years, you're starting to realize that that's kind of the way they want to go, just by the appearance of the band. The singer he looks like a poster for that type of music.
Right.
Tattoos all the way to the fingers.
Almost like Motionless in White.
Yeah, dude. Like you fucking predict the way that sounds just by looking at the guy. But man, that's what I like. What do you think? You suggested it to me.
So I exactly what you said. I wholeheartedly agree, and I suggested it for that reason because I figured that you would like it. For me, it's not for me.
Yeah.
But everything you said is 100% correct. That it is basically Rob Zombie done more contemporary, better, and what a problem that I've always had on this podcast with almost anything that we listen to is the sound, the production is great. Everything is mixed well. So when the guitar solo kicks in, it sounds like there's a guitar solo. The drums kicking hard as fuck. The drumming is really good.
Yeah,
that's something I really have to admit. I'm like, bro, the drumming is really awesome. And when the singer is doing his verse thing, it's the music is not subverting him. It is it is about him, but not in this like showcasey type of way. The choruses are catchy. I get this vibe of the song that's like. It's like this sexy like strip rock club.
Yeah, dude.
Like this strip club rock anthem. And I was like, I dig that. Like, again, not for me, but I totally see the appeal. And that's why I suggested it to you.
Yeah, man.
And I'm glad you made it your pick because I was like, that's how well I know him.
Unpredictable, man. But yeah, dude, I love the direction this band is going. And to your point that, the singer, I think the singer does something really cool here. Which is he I don't know his name, but his presence.
I think it's there in the comments on YouTube. I know you're looking at the video there. People are constantly saying that like, oh, his transformation to Rob Zombie is complete.
Yeah, I think I saw it somewhere here. But man, this guy, he has a gift, man. And his gift is to be the center of attention without isolating the band. Because it goes
that
so
takes skill.
That takes balls, bro, and that takes practice and just the way to be this showmanship. But I think the band here is what really comes together and kind of hoists him up. But he's not the center of attention for this song. Like you get it, you hear it, but his vocals aren't so overwhelming that you're like, oh man, this without the singer would suck. Like, nah, bro, you could be instrumental and it'll still be like, type of like, fuck, this is pretty dope,
Yeah.
Put
It's like a cool slow head bump.
Yeah, it's very slow. But yeah, man, that's my pick. What about you, Kevin?
So my chugs of choice, of course I always have to go a little heavier than you, and of course one of my top subgenres is deathcore. So I went with Carnifex, their new single "No Light Shall Save Us," featuring Alyssa White, actually, who was, I can't remember correctly if she used to be in Agonist or if she was in what was the other female fronted metal band? I think she's from Agonist. And then she went over to Arch Enemy after that singer got like pregnant. So she just left the band. So then they got Alyssa White, and then Arch Enemy is not the same anymore.
Yeah.
So then I found it's funny how Carnifex's first new single for their new album World War X coming up, I think also in June. Man, we have a lot of shit.
It's a good summer, man.
So the first thing, especially that I see you now, Felix, watching the music video there on the iPad, you see Alyssa White, you're like, what the fuck? What says Carnifex? But as soon as it kicks in, well, that guitar and those drums kick your ass.
It sets you on your ass.
Right. And when you hear the singer of Carnifex, oh my God, man. So I'm a fan of Carnifex. They, so a little background is they started with along that same time or that same era of like early deathcore for me, Felix, because we remember obviously that early deathcore of like a favorite of mine, Molotov Solution, Suicide Silence, Through the Eyes of a Dead Man. Who else was big around that time? Carnifex, Job for a Cowboy, Black Dahlia Murder. But then a lot of that guard went this like black metal-y deathcore vibe, where they went almost more death metal-y, less deathcore, but then this eerie, cool, dark sensation. And what I think that makes Carnifex stick out, besides doing it first, like they diverged first, went with that cool, eerie, almost dark metal-y death metal vibe of their brand of deathcore, is they always stayed like how the category is called, chugs. Yeah, they just brought the chugs, man. Like, so even now, like that we're both listening to the song again, "No Light Shall Save Us." Bro, you can't help but headbang to this song.
It's pretty dope, man.
And even featuring Alyssa White is like her added like operatic clean vocals.
It flows very well to
bro. It flows beautifully,
and that's what I like about this type of music, man.
Yeah,
because you wouldn't think that someone so talented and some like those harmonic effects in a vocal part will complement it, but you'd be wrong to think that it doesn't. It really
that's the first thing that comes to mind. It's like, how is this going to complement? And it works.
It just works, man. It works, and I'll give them credit. They do.
It works. To me, this single kicked my ass once again. I that's my trend of every time I choose my chugs of choice, it has to be a song that knocks me on my ass. And man, when this song came out, and I was like, bro, I could not hit play on YouTube on it faster, and it just like it blew me away. I think I fell off my desk.
Oh shit, dude!
And
strap in, big dog.
It's this week. It's Monday, so last week. Last week, I think I played it every day. Like as soon as I got to the gym, I started the playlist with Carnifex because man, this song kicked my ass, and I can't wait. Again, this is the single coming off of their upcoming album, World War X, that I believe comes out this month in June. Man, I don't know why Apple Music doesn't tell me the fucking dates.
Well, while you're looking for that, Kevin,
August. So it's literally the first. So it's August 2nd. First Friday of August, we get a Carnifex album.
Boom. Dude, I just want to say because I went through the guitar solo just now. That reminds me so much of a more talented Within the Ruins. And I don't mean to be a dick, man, because I like Within the Ruins to an extent. for the most part. But wow, like they do it so well, you know. It like I guess the pitch harmonics are like spot on,
Yeah,
and they do more of it. So
it's they went that route in the sense of the chugs and the vocals and the most of the chord progressions is in this vein of like that's like blackened death metal.
yeah,
But when it comes to like some kind of melody or
they do
especially
a good
guitar
job
solos,
with it.
they go full on like our old favorites of
Yeah,
melodic death metal,
yeah.
and it fucking flows beautifully.
I want to give a big shout out to Nuclear Blast Records,
Yeah,
just because whenever I see like that any band is signed with Nuclear Blast, I look through them and I more than likely love them.
yeah.
You know, and I think that's a really good thing to
A
have
really
for
old
your record label.
metal record label that has stayed relevant till today.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
he's got 2.1 million subscribers on YouTube. This shit is
Meshuggah.
Meshuggah.
So now we'll switch gears to the next category is our melody at the moment, so something a little bit soft or some clean vocals and whatever.
You know, something
So,
soft.
of course, once again, Felix, tell me, we'll start with you. What is your melody at the moment?
So, man,
I really don't know what the hell you're going to choose.
Good. Let's keep you on your toes, bro. This is a band that I think you can't be a metalhead or you can't listen to rock if you don't listen. You haven't heard of this band, and you also never shopped on Hot Topic if you never listened to this band. So
that was a weird shout.
That was a weird shot, you know. But here you go. We're all about shout outs here at the Metal to the Core podcast. But my pick is Sum 41, dude. They actually have a new song.
I think we just lost half the subscribers.
Probably,
like,
and I don't blame you guys.
Who's talking about Sum 41 on a metal podcast?
On a metal,
we are because we don't
podcast.
care.
God damn,
our picks.
That's right, son.
If you don't like it, write to us. Metal to the Core podcast. We're on Apple, Google Podcast, Spotify, now YouTube. Hit subscribe and then comment.
And we're on motherfucking Instagram, dog.
That's right.
We's on
right.
Instagram.
Metal to the Core.
So here's the thing. Before you unsubscribe, here's the thing.
Yeah,
I didn't know that this was gonna be. You know, I didn't know Sum 41 was still around, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and
hell, you surprised me.
Yeah, and that's tough because you're more into the news than I am. But it's not like this is the song called "A Death in the Family." Came out just a couple of days ago, and it already has over 650,000 views. So,
I bet more than half of that, like 75% of that, is straight up out of curiosity.
It has to be, you know, because these guys look. The lead singer fell apart and became a victim to society. All right, so he was in too deep.
You would,
you know, he wrote a hell song, and that's the way it goes. I don't know that many songs for Sum 41 off the top of my head. There's a lot of good puns there, but yeah, I would totally clicked it out of curiosity, and I was like, all right, let's see how old these guys got. These fucking Canadians. Let's see how old they got, and to see if they still look, you know, reasonably good. Because the last picture I saw of a singer, he looked horrible, but I think it was just a bad picture.
No, but they still got old.
Yeah, no, they got old as fuck. They became a victim to society, man. But this song, "A Death in the Family," I don't hate it. And the reason why it's my melody at the moment, because it is soft, you know, it's a punky type of thing. And you can't, it's really everything you would expect from Sum 41, just in a different time, really. It's as predictable as the name. They added another guitarist, and I think they changed the drummer. But for the most part, their setup is as close to early 2000s as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not terrible. It's a very "we're all to blame" type of vibe. I don't know if you remember that song.
Yeah, I do actually.
You know, so it has that kind of vibe from it. But it's a song that belongs, in my opinion, on a video game. It's one of those things. It's a very Tony Hawk-y type of song. You like it. It's a little melodic, has its moments here.
I mean, hell, that game did more for music than Sum 41 did.
Fuck. Yes, you're right. God damn it, man. Sum 41, dude. You heard it here first, folks. But yeah, Sum 41. What are your thoughts, Kevin? What do you think of Sum 41?
So you already know me, Felix. Like, I'm notoriously known for not being a fan of punk.
Yeah.
Except for like maybe a few albums back in my heyday of when I was like 11 to like 13, when I just did not know any better. But it was never a scene that called to me that much. I always liked something a little heavier, a little bit more experimenty and whatnot.
Yeah.
So when you sent me this, I was like, bro, what the fuck? Are you serious? So when I hit it and I saw that it was something current, I thought you sent it to me as a joke. And I was like, oh shit, like it's legit them, something current. So they are doing something new. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I give it to them that the music video is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's really, it's there. It's I like that's the split of them older, but like in some like other decade versus them current, and it's them still looking old to me in my eyes. But I don't like the song. Again, it's just that's not something of the song itself. It's not for me. But I do give it that the song is really well put together.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing that kind of made me want to pick it is because I would have expected some rust around the edges.
Me too.
From them because they've been away for so long.
Right. That's something I can't say. I can't say I don't like it because it's bad.
Yeah.
I don't like it because
it's just not just for you. And I was as much of a fan of Sum 41 as the next guy. I never owned any other albums. I just listened to a couple other hits and no big deal. So that's all I have really to compare it to. But it wasn't bad. And a lot of people were quick to shit on bands that are trying to make a comeback. Slipknot, whatever. They like to shit on them, but if they do it right, they do it right. And if they do it wrong, they do it wrong. One thing that I do want to say, though, I'm not disappointed because it's Sum 41. Mm-hmm. Like, I get it.
Yeah. You already had your bar of expectation.
Exactly. I haven't set it that fucking high. It's Sum 41. However, I will say this, and now just entertain this for a second. Imagine if it were Sum 41, but they just pull like a 180 and did something completely different. They'll alienate their fan base, which probably didn't follow them in the first place.
But at this point, their fan base is what? Older than us?
Yeah, exactly. But imagine if they would have like flipped the script and said, let's do something completely different. Then it would just be like, shit. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But then there's no risks.
To me, what caught me surprised is that it's like, from my recollection of especially old school Sum 41, it's old school in our eyes, is peak Sum 41. So let me not say old school. Peak Sum 41 was very pop punk. It was in the era of Blink-182, Offspring, and stuff like that. So it was very pop punk. So when I went to it, I was expecting them singing about like divorce and angsty shit. So I was like, I wasn't ready for a bunch of 30-year-olds singing about that.
Yeah.
And they didn't. So to me, that was a cool, check in the box of like, okay, they didn't do the same shit. Mm-hmm. And I do give them that it is like how we said about like He Is Legend. Like this is very much more party rock.
Yeah.
Than pop punk.
Yeah.
They keep the punk rhythm where it's like that gallopy, fast, mid to fast pace, tempo, right? Mostly because of the drums and whatnot. The simple chord guitar strumming and stuff. There's even a guitar solo. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
right. And I can't remember them doing that back then.
Yeah, they did it a couple times. The Hell Song, In Too Deep had a few. They have the things. I mean, they're not overly technical. You can probably know how to do it. It's not hard.
But then something I have to give it in both columns of like, it's a good thing, but I can't stand it's a good thing, is the song is catchy as shit.
Yeah.
I heard it once and I couldn't get the rhythm of the chorus out of my head.
That's their style, man.
Yeah.
For all we know, they wrote this song a long time ago and they just had personal shit to deal with and then just kind of picked up where they left off.
Especially the singer.
Right. So he became a victim of society, man.
God damn.
But yeah, that's my pick. And the reason why Melody of the Moment is because it just has some melodic parts to it. And I really just wanted that shock value of bringing up Sum 41 after years of not even saying the phrase, like saying the name of the band. Sum 41 is making new music. But much respect to our Canadian brethren for coming out and, dusting the cobwebs off. And I'm sure they were expecting or ready to embrace some criticism in doing that, but they did it, and that's more than you can say for a lot of bands out there. So I appreciate that. What about
you heard it here first. Felix is a shock jockey.
I'm a shock jockey. That's what I am, man.
So my melody at the moment, it was a bit of a difficult time trying to decide on it a bit. And it's funny that I'm actually going to go a little softer than you. So for the chugs, I went heavier than you. And now for the melody, I'm going to go even softer.
It's always a goddamn competition with you, man.
It's not that much.
Jesus Christ.
So it's this band that their album is about to come out soon. And of course, once again, I don't have the damn name of the album ready. Lonely World. Lonely World. The album, the song, I'm sorry. The band is Acres. The song Be Alone. Off their upcoming album Lonely World. And then I believe I've talked about their previous single or the first one on a previous episode back with Eric. Acres to me is fucking phenomenal. It's something that I haven't heard in a long time or till this day, of this crazy melodic atmospheric post-hardcore with clean vocals that barely go harsh. So to me, it's such a breath of fresh air of something that's not abrasive, and then the music crescendos to raise the volume, not necessarily get not get abrasive. So I believe this album, Lonely World, is finally coming out because I can't wait for this release by Acres is August 9th. Damn it, I thought it was closer.
Okay.
I can't believe it because by now this is like their fourth single. So I can't believe the album is so far away still. So something that gives me vague reminiscence of Acres is like a mid-tier, I want to say almost Thrice, with a bit of Anthony Green in the sense of Circa Survive, not so much Seosin.
Okay.
So it's this like layered of music, of this atmosphere, crazy melody that's just like repeating throughout the music. Not abrasive, but the vocals go up and down and dynamic. The band follows him, so it's like how we talked about last episode, Felix, how the band compliments the singer, and then the singer then in that compliment like raises the band up.
I'm going to ask you a little question here. Did you get any of a hint? Now take the lead singer out of this and just think of the band. But did you get any Dance Gavin Dance feelings from this during the chorus?
Okay.
Did you get that? Because I did.
Okay, I mean less noodling because they do all that crazy tapping.
But every now and then, Dance Gavin Dance, they stay whenever they want Tillian to kind of really flex his vocals. They'll just stay with 2 or 3 notes on a chorus, and they'll just kind of stay together. But it's still very beautiful,
right?
And I noticed it a lot in this song. And the way that the singer was able to not do too much, just do the right amount over almost the entire song. Yeah. Really, like
it's cool hearing this because the style is it's my favorite vocal style in the hardcore genre, where it's the really airy, throaty singing, screaming, but then he's doing the clean singing version of airy, throaty
just throughout the whole song.
And then throughout the song. So he's not what would be the word? He's not like enunciating every syllable and every word and through the lyrics.
But he doesn't have
it's almost I don't want to say the word, but it's almost operatic.
Yeah.
Where he stretches the song.
Yeah.
The song, I'm sorry. He stretches the word in a phrase.
Right.
As if stretching out a notes in music. And it, to me, is super fucking cool to see one of my favorite harsh vocal stylings of hardcore done melodically.
Absolutely.
And to me, it's super interesting, and then on top of that, done well, and of a band that I've never heard of, to sound this good, this tight, and just that sound production
it's fantastic,
incredible.
To me, this is
I know you're there. I'm sorry. I know you're there on YouTube. Does it say the record label that they're on? I don't think it does.
I think it might be Dreambound.
No, Dreambound is a YouTube channel.
Oh, then no, I don't think it says it.
Man, I'm really interested on who worked on the upcoming album. Yeah. But I'm sure we'll talk about it in August. But hey, that's awesome. Now hearing more and more upcoming new releases.
Yeah,
August is looking packed by now.
That's really awesome. Good. The one thing I wanted to bring out on this specific song is, and feel free to disagree with me on this, but I feel like it's almost, if you get a song from maybe a less heavier song from Architects, maybe the chorus from a bunch of these bands that we really like Era.
Oh, and, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and then now get those clean parts that are very well done. Some are a little annoying, some are pretty good. Get all those clean parts and make it into a song. and you just kind of have like a compilation of clean vocals that really work.
Especially,
throughout all the song.
I like and I agree mostly with the comparison of the Architects.
Yeah,
Not Sam Carter level, because that's one of the greatest vocalists right now.
right,
In the genre, in the subgenre. But I get what you mean, because especially how I described like the airiness in each word of a phrase in the song, in the lyrics, and how he stretches it out as if like a musical note. Like, yeah, I totally get what you mean.
man.
But
So
that
I dug
comparison.
it. I dug it.
Yeah. So that was my melody moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to keep track. So then now, Felix, you have to tell me what is your weird out there, because now I know which one you're going with. Tell me, or tell the listeners more as a fact. What is your wild card?
So my wild card for this week is a little band called Dinosaur Pileup. I know very little of this band, but they, to be honest, their thumbnail on their YouTube video was a oversized head of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That's hysterical.
And that caught my attention right away. And I'm like, all right, let's check it out. And then I heard it, and I really dug the song, but I realized their album came out early this week, probably or last week. So I was like, dude, I have to talk about it on the podcast, specifically because I keep listening to this song Backfoot over and over again, and it's just such a cool little catchy song, man. I love it, and I was listening it to, I was showing it to Kevin before we started our podcast, and Kevin, you said it was like Cage the Elephant, right?
Yeah, to me that's the best, because it was bugging me as soon as I saw it. I'm like, bro, I get the vibe of it with the vocal stylings of this like almost rapping Beck like. Even you said like, it doesn't remind you of Beck. I was like, yeah, but the heavier parts feel like too like alternative rock for Beck, and it hit me. It sounds like early Cage the Elephant.
Yeah, man, I thought that was spot on.
Yeah,
I thought that was spot on. And the reason why I like this,
and less messy.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. It's something about this like simplified version of their formula in this specifically this song Backfoot. I'll hear the rest of the album, so I want to get a better rounded opinion on the band Dinosaur Pileup. But this specific song, there's something about the formula that they did with the song that it sounds less messy. It sounds tighter than even Cage the Elephant. Yeah, I'm thinking about like, this sounds like Cage the Elephant, like the first album of Cage the Elephant.
Yeah, really good one.
Yeah. But then even that one is really messy. You can tell that they did mistakes. There's maybe some parts in songs that like the production wasn't just like really there. But there's something about this. I'm like, I would not change anything.
I thought it was spot on
in this song Backfoot from Dinosaur Pileup.
So I think, and you know this a lot. Kevin. I like metal, metalcore, all that stuff as much as possible. But when it comes to alternative rock, and even I used to be really into punk. But when you have that very bass heavy rock, I'm a sucker for that shit.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it when the bassist is given free range to just use as many pedal effects as possible and have a very big drive and overly distorted sound. And you kind of get that a lot with this band, kind of like Royal Blood a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes, for sure.
You
that
see
vibe,
sections of it. Yeah. And to be completely honest, it's a compliment to Royal Blood that I'm using them as a comparison. But there's a lot of bands out there that just have that overly distorted sound. That's just a simple couple of notes, but in the right places that really drive it home. Mm-hmm. It's less, less core, less headbanging, but just more, rockish. And I think these dudes, they hit it on the head. Personally, I like changing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't love to stay with the deathcore, metalcore, because to me, it starts to becoming redundant, and I lose appreciation of something that might be really good. So I like to challenge myself a little bit to listen to what's out there, listen even to some hip hop, just to kind of get my mind away from it. It's kind of like smelling a good cologne. You want to smell some coffee after, and then go back to it because if not, you're not gonna. That's a perfect comparison, if you ask me. But you're not going to appreciate a song from The Artist Murder if you're going to jump right into Job for Cowboy. You want to take a little step back, regain yourself, and then go for it. So I think this is like a palate cleanse, I guess the best way to put it. And that's what I would use for it.
But to me, it's such a cool, like, hanging out with your boys, driving music.
Yeah.
But again, I'm only coming out of it with just a single.
Yeah,
So for all I know, I really want to check out. I'm
songs,
telling you,
but-
it got me enough that
Yeah.
I want to check out the rest of the album.
Hey, dude, I think that's the goal, man.
Yeah.
That's the goal. What about you, man? Shocking with your wild card.
It's not so much of
Not
a shocker. So
shocker?
of course it's going to be something a little heavier, but it's I would want to say it's my favorite boys from Rhode Island,
Oh,
and I saw these guys live. They're called Sanction,
oh,
and Sanction to me is what is happening currently within this to me, I'm viewing it. I'm coming at it as if it's this new little corner being carved out right now in this like micro genre subgenre of hardcore right now, which is like with Knock Loose and stuff like that. There's this like strange, grimier, almost grindcore-esque hardcore music that's coming about right now. And then, and I'll give it to Sanction for sounding shitty in the production side. They sound and they play fucking phenomenally. And I saw them live playing their, shittily recorded first album live, and they blew me away.
Mhm.
And they were I think they were the first band performing in a very long night. And they won the crowd. And this song is their first single for an upcoming release that they're working on is Radio Lacerations. Radio
yeah, radio. Dude,
Lacerations.
Tell me you didn't get, and this might be a long shot, but tell me you didn't get Slipknot in the very first 30 seconds of the song.
Yeah, so they have, you could easily tell that that's their vibe.
Yeah.
And it's funny how now that they're working towards their second album, they're not dropping that vibe.
Mhm.
Especially in the first album, you hear they distinctively sound like that bad production quality of the first Slipknot album.
Yeah, just like it.
The self-titled.
The first
one.
Wait and Bleed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what I picked up.
Wait and
on
Bleed,
right there,
Sick,
Yeah.
set in contact and
And
stuff like
dude,
that.
those were good. So
right, those
go
were
for it, man.
great. Those were good, chaotic songs.
Yeah.
That sounded like shit. Because it was poorly recorded, but the songs not so tight.
Mhm.
But it gave room for just this chaos.
Yeah.
That just it felt like a tornado came into your room, fucked shit up, and just left.
Yeah.
And you just what just
Now you got to
happened?
pick up all the pieces.
Right. So then
Explain that to your mom.
these kids from Rhode Island, they've somehow captured that Slipknot album in a bottle, and
Yeah.
they're releasing it every song, and they're playing it with this vibe of, I want to say, with the attitude of New York hardcore, but with the musicianship of modern day mathcore, because they have some really insane doodling in some songs, but then in the others they sound almost sludgy.
Yeah.
It's cool how
there's parts of sludgy in here.
yeah, and oh my god, that breakdown,
Yes,
that
filthy.
breakdown, that it's
Shit
just the
is
same shit played
filthy.
slower. It's filthy, fuck. So that's why I needed to talk about that, because the single was over a week ago, and I really wanted to talk about them last episode, but I just couldn't fit it into them, and I'm just no man, I need to talk about them next week.
Yeah, dude.
So then today they had to be my walker. So again, it was my boys from Rhode Island. They're called Sanction. The song was Radio Lacerations. I know you're listening to it right now. What more did you think about Felix?
I thought it was pretty badass.
Yeah.
I just want to hit on one comment. Shout out Alex Berry. Dude wrote, Kyle hitting drywall intensifies.
Yeah.
And I thought that is the best way to describe this fucking song, because it was so good. But you can tell it's the fucking Kyle chugging a monster with a sick wolf tattoo.
Breaking
on his neck,
drywall.
just fucking ready for the drywall. But yeah, man, I liked it. It was dope.
I can't believe that's such a funny ass analogy
Yes,
that
bro.
I can't disagree with it.
Some other dude wrote, "My still water is now sparkling." Thanks, guys. These fucking comments are ridiculous, man. I fucking love it. I think this is my favorite part of the podcast. Just going through people's comments.
Just the shit that people say
Oh my
about these
God,
songs.
I fucking love it. Oh, some dude said that some parts sound like Old As They Dying. I agree.
Okay.
Not a lot.
Especially that again, early As Like Down, where it was just shitty
really bad
recording.
produced. Yeah, they remastered all of those.
Yeah,
Sense, but yeah, man. I think this
bro,
was great.
that breakdown is just
Shit
so
was filthy.
it's filthy, man.
Shit was filthy, bro.
So guys, please
Shit
check
was
them out. I can't wait for their upcoming album. I don't know when that one is. I'm assuming another one in August. Fuck it. So then now we're gonna move on to finally to our review of the instrumental metal band Andromeda Soulseeker, not to be confused with last week's episode where we reviewed an instrumental jam rock band Chun. So Andromeda, a little bit of a backstory there. That's one of my very many Bandcamp discoveries early on, where they only had Bandcamp music, and the only way to get it was the the Bandcamp's method of pay what you want to download, and I fell in love immediately with this crazy doodling, not so doodling instrumental metal that felt almost cinematic, that felt like it belonged like in a movie score. The way I've introduced people, especially here in South Florida, to Andromeda, I've told them like it's basically Glitch Mob if there were an instrumental metal band, and people understand that because like Glitch Mob is very like in the EDM techno side, they're very like cinematic. If they have like these crazy progressions in their song, and Andromeda did the exact same thing, and I've been a fan of them for years now, for such a long time. Felix, I don't know, was this your first Andromeda album?
This is my intro to this band.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And
that's such a good, because I think it's the most tight they've ever sounded.
Yeah, I think I got into the train just in time, and they're great, man. I have a couple of things, a couple of little bits with it that I'll wait till the end of the section of the podcast. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. This was pretty dope.
So something that already stuck out with me, especially for you coming in as a new listener, Andromeda never sounded this tight, this high end production, whatever. They've always sounded great. They've always sounded good, even for again an obscure ass band from an obscure ass website that no one had heard of, years ago. And as they kind of garnered more and more of an audience, they started writing this like people pigeonholing them into this like, oh, they're space rock. So they started like going along with that, like all the album covers and like single covers were like galaxies and stars and planets or whatever. And it's like I kind of get that vibe and whatnot that they were going for. But then after a while, I'm kind of like I got tired of it.
I'm over it. Yeah.
Right. So then they came out with a single. I can't remember. Of course, I'm so bad with it, man. I think it's Reflection. Yeah, Reflection. I think that was the first single off of this new album, Soulseeker, that blew me the fuck away. And I'm pretty sure that was one of the first episodes of the podcast I talked about it, where they introduced violin. Oh, and I was like, holy shit, not only do they sound tight and less spacey, they brought the chugs back because they almost lost it. I think the last album, they added a violin, but without making the violin sound like an afterthought.
Yeah, like part of it.
Right. They didn't add it just for like atmosphere. Yeah. It felt exactly what you just said. It sounds like it's a part of it. It sounds like they're playing the violin like a metal instrument, like a metal guitar. And it's so fucking cool. So I'm like, cool. And I remember saying it on the podcast back then with Eric. I was like, if this is the rest of the album, we are reviewing it. so spoiler alert that we're reviewing it. The rest of the album has insane violin.
Yeah.
So then now I have to ask you, what did you think about the violin in the album?
Now, I'll be honest with you, man. When the first couple of songs, I really dug it. And I think it's like we touched on earlier. The violin wasn't an afterthought. The violin, it almost feels like they knew what parts they were playing. And the violin and guitar are very similar instruments. So it's not, crazy to think that some of the parts that they would want, especially the progression parts that they want to play on a guitar, they could probably play on a violin. So I get that, but it all goes well, and I think the vibe of this band and other bands like it is to have that harmony that carries through from beginning to end, and they do a really solid job at that.
Fuck yeah!
Because you can put all these bands into their own little hole, like their own little spot in music, especially in the rock genres. But they're all kind of similar in their own way, but very different in their own way. And to this particular band, they're different in the violin. They're different in their kind of operatic progressions in and out, and those transitions from song to song. The production was fantastic.
Fuck yeah!
I listened to it twice today, and both times that was really sat well with me. The production, my only, and I don't know if you want to talk gripes just yet, but my only beef with it, and this could just be maybe the way I have my speaker set up. I have my speaker set up with a moderate amount of bass. The footwork for the drums was great. It was fantastic. It was so technical that, it was just beyond words. But there is a line, in my opinion, where it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the very first, the three first songs, that's where I noticed it. And what pissed me off wasn't that what really bothered me is that there were parts in those songs where it was done perfectly. And then there was every other fucking part that it was just
blast beats.
And it was blast beats, but with your footwork. And like, I get that, but here's my beef with it. The way it was produced, the bass notes that are coming from the drum, they're hard, they're heavy, and they resonate. So what happens to me is that I left a lot of the guitar work and the violin work and all these, beautiful notes that they're playing. Some of them were droned out by the just ridiculous amount of bass that was produced from the bass drums. That could just be my opinion, my ears on it, but it got so old so quick, dude, because I want to appreciate it. I want to get those, I want to feel, especially with songs and bands like this that don't have a lead singer to kind of hold your hand and guide you through the journey that is their song. You want to have that from the guitarist, from all the melodic tones in that song.
Because for an instrumental, the guitarist is the driving force.
Yeah, so they want to hold that hand and take you through it. What happened to me, and it might happen to some of our viewers, our listeners, I was lost along the way because there was so much going on with the drumming.
Right.
And the drumming with the snares and all that stuff and the toms, they were fine. I think it was just the way that it was mic'd up on the bass pedal was so intense that it didn't, in my opinion, it didn't give it justice to a lot of the things that were going on in the song. That's my only gripe with it. Aside from that,
I get it because it's funny how you're wording it that way, that it's the drumming was a gripe when, and a lot of people have the opposite criticism about the same gripes with the drumming and most instrumental. I would say like doodling instrumentals, especially where it's solo guitar centric, is that the drumming clearly sounds programmed. The drumming clearly sounds programmed.
That's true. It doesn't.
So what do? It's a guitarist trying to program drumming, so they don't know how to make it sound like it's not being subverted just for the guitar work.
Right.
So they make it overbearing at points. So I can't speak for Andromeda. I really don't know if that's the same thing.
I was going to ask, do you know if they have a drum?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I was going to quickly search for while you're talking. And
there were times where I felt like they weren't, man. And the reason why is because...
And it has sounded better every release. Yeah. Every EP, every album has sounded less programming. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't know if that means that if it's one guy, I don't know if he's getting better or if it is in fact a band. Then I think they need to like kind of settle like, okay, who is the showcase? Like what is to be showcased in this section or in this song?
Exactly.
That needs to be kind of like ironed out a little bit better. Right. Like what they did now with the violin in this album, it felt like it was a part of the band, not like an afterthought. Yeah. They need to treat the drums such as that of like, okay, you're part of the band, you're not an afterthought, but at the same time,
slow it the fuck down, know your role, play your place.
I don't have a problem with the speed. I have exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Like there was some overbearing moments where like, okay, I can't remember the name of the song or not. Once again, that should be like the name of the fucking podcast. I believe it's
mine was Confrontation.
I think it's the one after Reflection. I think
Purpose?
Purpose. It's Purpose. Where it's featuring I think it's featuring another guitarist.
Brandon something.
So then there's like 2 or 3 solos in that song. Mm-hmm. And yet somehow the drumming like overbears it at some point.
Shit gets annoying, dude.
Yeah. And it's like, yo, like I need to focus on what's happening with the solo.
And that's what makes me think that it might be programmed because a good drummer would know these things. Mm-hmm. And like for example, when we touched on them a couple of times, but Chun and Polyphia and even Intervals for that matter, or even Animals as leaders, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
They know, and that drummer is amazing
Yeah,
and they
incredible.
know when to let the guitarist and Javi and Tobias, right?
Yeah, because the way
Tommaso.
that's different. Because the way they go about it is like we're a jazz band. So when you improvise
Exactly.
or when you do your thing,
I'll
that's
just
your
be
turn.
holding the beat,
Exactly.
and you don't do that, man. So especially and here in Andromeda, it doesn't feel like they were doing that, and it was frustrating because I saw the potential, I saw the jugs and the melody and the doodling and all that stuff, and I liked it. I dug it, and there were parts that it was more or less of a chorus and an instrumental, band, and the drumming kind of knew its place. It took a back seat, and it was great. But then came back the triple beats in one, and it's just like,
beats and
slow
whatnot.
it down. And if you are going to do that, then take away some of the bass from it because you're droning out all the sound. And I don't think you want to do that, and you would really hate for something as simple as, trying too much to really set you back and cause you to lose some of the fan base. I'm really curious to know and to hear what folks think about this on our podcast. So if you have any suggestions or any comments from when you heard this song,
Right.
let us know just so we can give you, a quick shout out. But I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts on that, because immediately, I want to say after the third song, I was a little turned off by it because it just felt like it was overbearing. And the first time I heard it was on headphones, and I couldn't make night or day of it. I didn't know where the song was, where it started, where it ended. And the second one was in my car, which just made things worse.
Right.
Because everything was just like, bass.
Yeah,
all the way
the bass
through.
was still all the way. Yeah.
So, dude, imagine, like, I just couldn't deal with it, man. But that's just me. That was my gripe.
And I don't want to come like it's not like we're coming off like we're like hot on the album. Like no, like this was good. We enjoyed it. It was great. And all those strengths to them is that those chord progressions, the doodling, the guitar work, the soloing, the way that the production sound, all of that
was all fantastic.
was so great.
Yeah.
It's if we're judging it off some kind of scale, it's like we need to check all those boxes, and it's just the specific box is one of the is really overbearing.
Yeah, dude.
And I do get it. Another thing that I would even add to it is they've almost, specifically this album, they've carved out this like almost like formulaic sense of I think it's more than 3 songs start and almost end the same. So at no point, like especially my listening habit is I listen to something on shuffle. I didn't know when something ended and another thing, the next thing started.
Yeah.
Or I couldn't tell the difference between certain songs. So it took me forever to know that. Not Discovery. What was the name of that other one? God damn it.
Transcend?
I think it's that one because I think that was their second or third single after Reflection. But it wasn't Purpose. So I think it's Transcend. Let me see there. Persevere. Look at that.
Yeah.
It took me forever to even differentiate those two. But then I know Soul Seeker, which is looking at it there, it's funny now that I'm recollecting that it's the opening track. I think now knowing it's the opening track is such an awkwardly placed opening track then.
You think so?
Because it's the one that sticks out, and it's not that formula that the rest of the album is. So it's like if you're gonna do a formulaic song structure, start with one of them and then sprinkle in different stuff.
Yeah.
Not start with something cool and different and then 2 or 3 in a row sound the same.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm thinking it's 1 8 to 10 minute song when it's really 2 4 to 5 minute songs. And I didn't know.
Yeah, man. And look, and then Soul Seeker is their longest track actually. It's their longest running 6.
Yeah, that's the different one.
So
that one was really different. To me, that one has the most transitions, and it's funny because I think that one has the least solos. So it's funny that has the more length.
Yeah.
So that almost changes my criticism now. If that's the route, if that's them testing out the waters of longer song structures, that gives them more time to breathe, gives the instruments, like I said, like more time to breathe, more time to experiment or whatever, then do that.
Yeah,
give me that. Don't give me a song that's 3 or 4 minutes of
just to say
2 or 3 solos, and then it's like blast beats throughout the song.
Yeah. I don't think that. I will always be more of a fan of a band that gives us 3 good songs that are 8 minutes long than 12 songs that are 3 minutes long and they're all just filler and just bullshit. And it's just not appreciated. And then art is it's hard to judge art sometimes because every art form is different, but just on a case by case basis, when you're a band like this, like Andromeda, when you're into all that, I guess kind of prog rock a little bit, your sport, your arena, and you know more or less how to play, and there's experts in this arena for a reason. So I'm not saying mimic them to the point that you can't tell the difference between them and you,
but follow their lead.
But just follow their formula. If they know, if you see that, this band is doing, technical bridge, harmony, and then close. You don't have to follow that formula to a T, but mess around with it, play with it, experiment with it, and that's how good becomes great.
Right.
And that's
and
where
stays relevant.
And stays relevant. So I think this band, from what you said in the previous albums and now, I think they're making a step forward. I'm curious to see if they are, if it is a one-man band, because that would make more sense.
Yeah. Because he's doing all this,
exactly.
It's so much time between releases, and in between releases, he does like an EP, a single. So
more respect would be given if it is one dude, because
and if he's programming the drums, it's like, yo, more power to you, but
because they're not bad.
Bring it down a bit.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Right,
they're just
overbearing.
When you try too hard, you can tell.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunately it's harder to tell when you're trying too hard on a guitar than it is on drums, because on drums you just play every fucking little.
I mean, for all we know, maybe he's using the good drums.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, but we'll see. But that's my hot take on it, man. I thought it was great. I'll definitely listen to it again a couple more times. But you if you're gonna check it out, listeners at home, let us know your thoughts, because I'm curious to hear if you all thought the same as me. Same as me and Kevin, actually.
So once again, that was Metal to the Core. You can follow us on all social media at Metal to the Core. Send us your unsigned music or whatever other comments and whatnot to Metal to the Core podcast at gmail.com. Please rate and review us on all social media and podcast platforms, and we're on YouTube. So hit subscribe, comment. If you don't like us, tell us. If you want something to change, tell us.
Vote on my name.
Right, like we're gonna keep doing whatever the fuck we want until we know what is working, what's not working, and we're not gonna know that until someone tells us. So please let us know. Once again, you could follow me wherever at Kevin to the Core. I know, Felix, you're not on much social media and whatnot.
Off grid, man.
Right, so then just you shout out to him and criticize him on all the social medias of the website of the podcast,
or spam Kevin, and the message will get back to me.
That too, it will. I think for next week we're thinking of reviewing the Thank You Scientist album.
Man. Yeah, I think that's gonna be.
Man, we're on a roll now with like these crazy doodly novels.
Yeah, and dude, I love it. I think it.
Oh yeah, you and I both. So, yeah, have a good night, guys. Stay metal.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.